A Ring of Devotion, the tragic love story behind the wedding ring. On May 13, 1912, the crew and passengers of the RMS Oceanic came across an unusual sight in the North Atlantic. As they approached closer, they realized it was a lifeboat with 3 deceased individuals and a mysterious wedding ring. Documents found on one of the bodies identified him as Thomas Bay, a first-class passenger from the ill-fated Titanic. The other 2 bodies were believed to be stokers, crew members responsible for fueling the ship's engines. Just a month earlier, the Titanic had tragically sunk after colliding with an iceberg. During the chaos, a few individuals scrambled to board the last available lifeboat. Collapsible A. Thomas Bay, still dressed in his dinner jacket, managed to make his way onto the boat along with about 20 others. However, as the waves crashed against the boat, 3 more passengers slipped down the deck in a desperate attempt to survive. Only 2 of them, August and Edward, successfully made it onto the lifeboat. Unfortunately, Edward's wife, Jera, tragically perished in the icy waters. As the occupants of Collapsible A awaited rescue, they gradually succumbed to exposure one by one. To reduce weight, they had to dispose of the bodies by throwing them overboard. Edward, devastated by the loss of his wife, passed away early in the night, and his body was committed to the sea.
We have this wedding ring that belonged to Swedish third-class passenger Elin Gerda Lindell, who was immigrating to the United States with her husband Edvard. As the Titanic sank, both Elin and Edvard tried desperately to get into a partially submerged lifeboat, but Elin fell into the water and Edvard didn't have the strength to pull her into the lifeboat. As Elin slipped from Edvard's grasp, Edvard managed to grab her wedding ring and then watched in horror as Elin drifted away and drowned. Edvard soon died from the freezing temperature, and his body was recovered later at the bottom of the lifeboat, with his hands still clutching his wife's wedding ring.
The wedding ring he had clung to slipped to the bottom of the boat. The following morning, the remaining survivors were rescued by another lifeboat, Collapsible D. However, Thomas Bay and the 2 unidentified stokers had already perished, their bodies left floating in the lifeboat. The Oceanic discovered them a month later, serving as a somber reminder of the tragic fate that befell the Titanic. This chilling account stands as a poignant reminder of the enduring mystery and sorrow surrounding the sinking of the Titanic, commemorating the lives lost and the stories that continue to captivate us to this day. A flash of light in the darkness, the mysterious lights of the Titanic. During the early hours of April 14th and 15th, 1912, the passengers of the Titanic found themselves in a dire situation, clinging to life in fragile lifeboats while gazing at the distant horizon. A glimmer of hope appeared as lights were spotted about 5 miles away, prompting hearts to race with anticipation of rescue. Unfortunately, the lights disappeared, leaving behind only despair and the harsh reality of the unforgiving sea.
What's the matter with him? Is he blind?
That's 6 rockets she's fired, sir.
Yes.
What's the matter with that ship on the horizon? Why aren't they responding? What are they doing?
Tragically, over 1,000 individuals lost their lives in the icy waters that fateful night, their cries for help silenced by the cruel hand of fate. The Carpathia's arrival came too late, unable to reverse the tragic events that had unfolded. The lingering question remained: were those lights merely a mirage, a desperate illusion born out of fear and desperation? Or did another vessel witness the Titanic's demise, choosing to turn a blind eye and leave death and devastation in its wake? The mystery surrounding the lights has continued to haunt historians and survivors for over a century. 3 ships emerged as potential suspects, each shrouded in its own secrets and motivations. The Samson, a vessel with a questionable history, denied any involvement, yet a death confession from a former crew member hinted at a darker truth. The Mount Temple received the Titanic's distress call, but was hindered by treacherous icebergs. The Californian, the closest ship of all, witnessed the Titanic's lights and distress signals but opted to take no action. Captain Stanley Lord, despite being warned of ice ahead, recklessly proceeded forward, disregarding the imminent danger.
Come at once! We've struck a berg. It's a CQD. We're sinking. Tell your captain we've only got an hour.
When the Titanic's radio operator sent out a desperate SOS, the Californian's radio operator, Cyrus Evans, received the message but was rebuffed by Lord, who refused to assist. In a shocking display of negligence, Evans even turned off the radio, silencing the Titanic's pleas for help. The Californian's crew watched in horror as the Titanic sank, its lights and signals fading into the darkness. They witnessed the final moments of the ship.
On the bridge of the Californian, Second Officer Herbert Stone watched and counted. By 12:55, he had counted 5 rockets.
Another rocket.
How many is that now? 3? Ship's not gonna fire rockets at sea for nothing.
Or maybe they're in some sort of distress.
Its electrical system failing as water engulfed it, extinguishing the once promising lights. The Californian's failure to act was a blatant disregard for human decency, resulting in the tragic loss of many lives. The narrative of the mysterious lights highlights the dichotomy of courage and cowardice within humanity, underscoring the importance of individuals choosing to show honor and empathy in times of adversity, rather than turning a blind eye, and perpetuating darkness and desolation. The iceberg that sank the Titanic. Over 100 years ago, the Titanic sank in the North Atlantic, resulting in the loss of over 1,500 lives. Yet its story still fascinates us today. While the human element of the disaster is well known, few recognize that the story of the Titanic is also a timeless depiction of the struggle between humanity and nature. Despite the unlikelihood of capturing a specific iceberg on film in an era before GPS, a few photographs claim to have done so. One such photograph, taken by Lauren Studer, a passenger on the Carpathia, shows a large iceberg with a missing portion. However, this iceberg does not match the descriptions provided by Titanic survivors.
There's no sign of iceberg then, because she'd passed us. And the lights were shining on the water from the portholes, and no sign of damage above waterline. The iceberg had cut her from forward on the starboard side to the engine room, almost amidships, right through her 2 bottoms. And we had orders to get the lifeboats out.
Another photograph, taken by Stephen Rourke, depicts an iceberg that closely resembles the one described by Titanic survivor Joseph Scarrett. However, there are no visible signs of a collision on this iceberg. The most likely candidate for the infamous iceberg is the one photographed by the chief steward of the SS Prince Adelbert, which passed by the wreckage site the day after the sinking. Journalist Senan Malone made a surprising discovery while exploring a collection of photos hidden in an attic for decades. He noticed a large dark mark on the starboard side of the Titanic, the same side that struck the iceberg. Further investigation revealed evidence suggesting that the doomed ship may have been severely damaged by a massive internal problem, a coal fire that burned for days before the ship set sail for New York. A coal fire could explain several unusual aspects of the Titanic's journey, including its excessive speed and the hull's warping from a continuous blaze. However, it remains unclear why this critical claim was ignored. Malone believes that British pride and the desire to protect the Titanic's reputation as the pinnacle of British maritime travel led to the suppression of the coal fire allegations. The responsibility for the Titanic disaster shifts almost entirely to human error and ambition, casting a new and somber light on a tragedy that occurred over a century ago. The Lost Telegram, a century-old mystery, resurfaces. After the Titanic sank, Philip Franklin, the owner of the White Star Line, appeared before a U.S. congressional panel with a serious demeanor. He testified that he had no knowledge of the ship's sinking, until the survivors arrived in New York and swore that no telegram had been received from the Titanic. However, 76 years later, a startling discovery would raise doubts about Franklin's claims. In 1988, an envelope containing a piece of paper surfaced, reigniting a century-old controversy. The paper was a telegram sent from the Titanic to the White Star Line headquarters, urgently informing them of the ship's sinking and the dire situation. Experts confirmed the telegram's authenticity by examining the printing style, official markings, and paper used. The question on everyone's mind was, did Franklin receive the telegram? If he did, why did he lie to Congress? Was he trying to cover up the company's negligence or incompetence, or was he trying to protect the White Star Line's reputation? If he didn't receive the telegram, was it deliberately withheld from him? The discovery of this lost telegram adds another layer of intrigue to the Titanic's already mysterious legacy, leaving us to wonder what other secrets lie hidden in the depths of history. The truth about the Titanic's tragic fate remains shrouded in mystery, serving as a reminder that even the most seemingly settled stories can still hold surprises. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the Titanic's history. The tragic fate of the Titanic still fascinates us, and the discovery of the lost telegram only adds to the mystery. The truth behind the events may forever elude us, but the Titanic's enduring legacy serves as a poignant reminder of nature's power and the importance of humility. I hope you found this journey as captivating as I did. If you have any more questions or topics you'd like to explore, please don't hesitate to ask.